All right, let's do this Nitro show.
WCW Monday Nitro number 222, also December 20th, 1999.
I can't figure out how much I hated the show.
There was stuff to like. There was stuff that changed your life.
I feel
in a good way.
That's true. I'm kind of numb to it now. I think I liked it better than recent shows, but there was stuff that was definitely stupider. I mean, that's for sure.
The recap.
Now, hold on. I want to make something clear as we do this review.
Yeah.
I want to review the show as we watched it. And, like, we can explain some shit a little bit later on. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, the point of this is, the show opens up with a recap of Bret Hart versus Goldberg from Starrcade that literally doesn't explain anything that happens. It doesn't even tell us who the champion is now, who won. All we know is there was a match, and Piper did something. This is a very, very poor recap. Like, the least you can do is tell us what happened, and then during the show, you can explain why it happened. The show opened, I didn't have any idea what happened. Was I smartened up soon, however.
I was able to get out of this video package that they just ripped off the Montreal finish.
There was a Montreal screw job.
2 years later.
Yep.
And somehow I didn't know that Bret was still champion.
I don't know how you got that.
I somehow. And Piper was there.
Well, did you figure out why Medusa came out with Spice?
No.
Because I read The Observer for the show, I still don't know why Medusa came out with Spice.
That was explained later.
It was?
It was?
It was.
Thank God you're here.
But it should have been explained before they came out. Another thing.
Well, what was it?
They both conspired to get the belt off of Evan Courageous. At Starrcade.
Okay. Why?
I have no idea.
What does Spice have to do with anything?
Now they're just friends. The other thing, last week we actually were very impressed because they had a rundown of all the matches that were going to be on this show.
They didn't this
week. We said, that's a great idea. They should keep doing that. And this week, they didn't.
Medusa at the pay-per-view became the first woman to ever become WCW Cruiserweight Champion. Mm-hmm. So Russo is just stealing his own ideas from the other company.
Yep.
She's now China.
And how did she mark this occasion? How did she note the significance of her historic championship win?
Was it wearing her belt to the ring, Vince?
I was going to say her dialogue.
Yeah, she didn't wear the belt to the ring.
I didn't see the belt anywhere.
I just want to note that she talked about her athletic achievement by saying, quote, "Women are dominating WCW with a little bit of TNA," and then she jiggled her boobs.
Yes. Women's evolution, baby.
Yes. So Buzzkill's out there for whatever reason. She challenges him to a match, and they fight.
What a match.
Medusa versus Buzzkill.
Medusa is the first ever woman to win the Cruiserweight title. So how do they celebrate this fact? They put her in the ring with a total jobber named Buzzkill, who beats the holy hell out of her, and has the match won, but Spice has taken the referee.
Yes.
Are you absolutely kidding me?
That really happened.
Spice throws a chain in for Medusa. She knocks out Buzzkill. She Germans him. She pins him. This was supposed to be like landmark for women?
Yeah.
This was supposed to be like something that we're supposed to get behind her for?
Yes.
Dude.
Tony promises a landmark Nitro. And then I wrote here, they run down the card.
Well, they did mention that Bret Hart was WCW champion.
Right.
So we did
Maybe I went back and out of that.
Yeah, I think so.
Russo is backstage. He tells his crew to be ready. That goof, Hugh Morris, is back. He books Curt Hennick versus Hugh Morris. He wants it to be Hugh Morris's last match, and he wants Roddy Piper brought to him.
He wants Curt to end the career of Hugh Morris.
Yes.
Okay, just want you to remember that.
Piper and his lackey show up.
It's Piper, his lackey, and his child.
Last week we thought this was Bart Sawyer.
It is Bart Sawyer.
Well,
they used his real name.
His name is Steve.
Yes.
Okay, Piper calls him Steve
Yes.
all over the show.
But his real name is Steve.
All right.
Bart Sawyer.
I see.
So he's there with his son, and they're getting out of the limo.
It was like 9.
And the first thing he says is,
It's like 6.
6, whatever.
"Did you go potty? Did your mom feed you?" I laughed. This is like one of those things. How
That's real
fucking
dialogue.
ironic. The week I potty trained Paisley, Roddy Piper gets out of the limo and goes, "Did you go potty?" You know how many times I've asked that question this week? Do you need to use the potty? Like 5,000 times. I've never heard it on a wrestling show. in 30-something years.
I believe you.
And this is the week that I finally hear it for the first time? It's uncanny.
So, creative control tells Piper to come see Russo. Piper tells Steve to watch his kid. And then he brings the kid with him anyway.
Well, I don't know if Steve was there. Steve was like carrying his bags or something.
I see.
Because Piper goes, I need to find someone to watch the kid. Mm-hmm. And creative control just goes, leave him there. Piper says, clearly you're not parents. And he takes his son with him.
Yeah.
What if he needs to potty?
Curt Hennick versus Hugh Morris. Kurt's doing his entrance. And they cut backstage where the Scream Killer has apparently murdered Shane.
Okay, seriously, was this really the Scream mask? Because it looked like the Predator mask.
I didn't screen cap it. I saw a figure all in black with like a white ghostly image.
It was supposed to be Scream, but anyway. They're doing this match and a billionaire Ted comes out.
Oh, God.
Hugh Morris's dad, who's escaped, I guess, from I don't even know what. He's
Hugh
in a
Morris
gown.
has a sick old father.
Yes.
Who he brought to the arena in his
Why?
hospital gown.
Yeah. Or he escaped. Well, I'm not sure if he brought him or if he escaped.
But he escaped. Hugh's so unconcerned, he just tells Dad to go back and wait for a few minutes.
Sure, yeah.
This goes on for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, they can't just do the joke once.
No.
They got to do it multiple times because you're dumb. Just like on Raw.
So eventually, after more time spent on the crazy old man than the wrestling match, Kurt wins with the Hennickplex.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think he's going to end Hugh Morris's career with that Hennickplex. I mean, it might just be me.
So Piper meets with Russo. They made some kind of deal, but now Russo wants Piper to go tell the people that he sold out. Russo says, I will never fess up to anything. You will take my heat.
That is what he said.
Does he know he's on camera on his own show?
Well, the funny thing was, I guess that we're supposed to think that we can see this and that nobody else can. I don't know why. I have no idea why we were supposed to be thinking that, but point of this is, he says, Piper, you got to take the heat from me. I'll never admit I was wrong. That was a good one. And then Piper goes into this soliloquy. Now,
Before
the key
you
here,
begin-
Vinny, the key here is as he's doing the soliloquy, you can hear the fans reacting to everything that he says. So it's patently obvious that everybody can hear Russo. As he says, you need to go out there and take the heat because I'll never admit that I was wrong.
And it's 2018 and he still hasn't.
Now, before we get into the details of Piper's rant,
Oh, I wrote it down.
I just want to point out that we watched the Hogan-Piper rivalry show on Sunday. Piper claimed that as a young man, he was the 5th in the world in the World Bagpipe Championships. See if that fits in with the story he tells here.
So Roddy Piper says he's going to shoot with Russo, the Smarks, and the Marks. Starts screaming about his sport. He claims, I slept on the street at 13 years old while cars drove by filled with guys looking for a little boy to prey upon. But I never got in those cars. I had morality. I had God on my side. He claims he was the youngest wrestler ever at age 15. First off, I mean, whatever. He has 8,000 matches under his belt. He's the smartest of them all. Says, I set you up, Russo, you filthy-looking drag queen. Says, I love the fans. They saved my life. I've never sold out until I made a stupid deal with you. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to show my son how to be a man. Then I'm going to put him in the car. I'm going to turn up the heat. I'm like, what?
It's cold out.
Gonna microwave him?
December.
Gonna have 2 security guys out there, and then I'm gonna go shoot with Russo and his 2 condom-headed geeks. Everyone goes, ha ha, condom-headed geeks. What was he talking about there, by the way?
They're bald.
I know, but he shot on him again? Was there another promo I forgot? I guess there kind of was. But anyway, he had a lot of passion.
I guess so.
He's a weird dude.
He's out of his goddamn mind.
Yeah, but you know what? He was the most compelling character on this program.
That's
That's
fair.
not saying much.
Then we go to Tony Schiavone. Tony Schiavone is here to explain the Montreal screw job. He says, for those of you that don't know,
Who doesn't know?
a couple of years ago, Bret Hart was screwed. Vince Russo, he says, was a writer under Vince McMahon. Remember when I said that Vince Russo was never the head writer? And he got so mad, and I hurt his feelings in this whole 9 yards. On this very goddamn show, the story is that he was under Vince McMahon. He says, many insiders claim Russo scripted the Montreal Screwjob finish that ruined Bret Hart's life.
Who said that?
No one. That is a load of horseshit. That is the biggest load of horseshit I've ever heard. He's taking credit for the Montreal Screwjob. Are you kidding me? I hope this was some storyline here, and he's not actually claiming that he came up with this idea. They recap the Screwjob at Starrcade, and, you know, I never even thought about it before, but do you realize that Bret Hart's WWF and his WCW career both ended with a Montreal Screwjob? Because Starrcade, he got booted in the head by Goldberg, and that was the beginning and the end of his career. He's got like a week left.
Mm-hmm.
This poor fucking guy. Dude.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? And he got his career-ending concussion in that piece of shit match.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So this is filled with as many possible mentions of the words WWF, Vince McMahon, Vince Russo, scripted the finish, which, yeah.
Every time people go, man, Bret was so bitter. Or when Bret himself goes, I'm not bitter anymore. It's like, this guy deserves to be bitter.
So
if ever there was someone who deserved to be bitter, it's Bret Hart. What a hand he was dealt.
So in what seriously may have been the most jaw-dropping moment of the Russo era on Nitro yet, they explain what the Montreal Screwjob was, how it was Vince Russo's fault. Then they show more pictures from Starrcade. They say last night was another Montreal Screwjob. Roddy Piper came out and said Goldberg quit when he didn't. And they're showing replays, and at the same time, they want you, the viewer at home, to pay money to buy the replay to watch it.
Yeah.
They think knowing that there's a screw job at the end is a selling point that will entice you to pay cash.
Do you know,
to watch
Vinny,
the show,
that later in this show, as Chris Benoit and Jeff Jarrett are on the way to the ring to have a ladder match, we are told to buy the replay to see them in a ladder match.
That happened.
I think I was told. I think I didn't recognize how absurd that was.
Oh, I did.
Yeah. Oh God! Kevin Nash comes out in street clothes.
Oh man, another shoot promo.
Looking like a giant
another
fan.
good one. So he says, wrestling is like no other business in the world.
I'll say.
And I think you know what? He's right.
He's right about that.
But then he says, this is why it's unlike any other business in the world. You work 12 months out of the year.
Wait a second.
I'm like, well, that sounds like any fucking business.
That's the same.
Says the veterans spell out the code of conduct of the job.
Again, same.
That sounds like a business. One of the codes, he says, in this business, a rarity, the boys never screw the boys. Man, that's unique to wrestling.
Kevin Nash is describing a construction site right now.
He says, what you see week in and week out is one thing. Behind the curtain, it's a different story. You got the boys, and you got the office. Very different from any other business. There's the workers, and there's management. Are you aware of this? The office, he says, here in wrestling, it's all about the money. It's all about trying to make a profit.
Again.
But the wrestlers, he says, they give their bodies every night. And I'm like, you're saying this, Kevin Nash? He says the office takes, they take. And the office, to be frank, they don't give a shit about us. We have no benefits, no retirement, no disability. They don't even, he says, pay our Social Security. You're an independent contractor. You signed the fucking contract. What are you talking about? He says if the office can find a way to screw the boys to make $1, they'll do it. They don't give a damn about Goldberg. I don't give a damn about Goldberg. But what happened at Starrcade was bullshit. He said shit about 15 times in this promo.
Yep.
It's like they're trying to be edgy. So everyone's saying shit a lot. The show did a fucking terrible rating despite all the times everyone said shit, I might add. Bret broke the code. He screwed one of the boys. Bret is nothing, he says, but, quote, a piece of shit. And he leaves. Whew. Some heavy words from veteran Kevin Nash. Then they go to creative control and they go, Nash is the biggest politician in the locker room. He doesn't give a shit about anybody. I'm like, what am I watching?
I don't know.
What in the fuck is this show? Dude.
That's...
Then, I may have to start taking my clothes off. This goes directly into Tank Abbott versus Jerry Flynn, okay? Tank Abbott and Jerry Flynn.
The recently married Tank.
Guess what happens when they get in the ring? They get in a fight. They send out 80 guys to break them up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, did WCW think that maybe something else might happen?
Well, they weren't in the boiler
like,
room.
maybe they do Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose, and they'd fucking tie up, and then put on a fucking chin lock? What did they expect to happen? They arrest Jerry Flynn because he got in a fight against Tank Abbott?
In what was booked as a no-holds-barred match.
Oh, I didn't even know that!
Yeah.
I hate this show. I decided. I hate it.
For a while it lasted.
I made up my mind.
For a while it lasted, this 1 minute fight was awesome.
Sure.
Tank Abbott was much greater than I remembered. So yes, the minions from Despicable Me hit the ring, separated them.
I hope you got a screenshot of that for your next pillow, by the way. God damn it.
A Corvette arrives. It is Angry Bill Goldberg.
At least he got a nice car this week.
Yes.
Remember that week he had a shitty car?
Yes.
And they destroyed it?
So next week is New Year's Evil. A live Nitro, the last one of the century.
All right, I got to apologize. Roddy Piper was the second most compelling. He was the most compelling. Hacksaw Jim Duggan
Yes.
and Shane Douglas,
Yeah.
gods.
Tremendous.
Shane Douglas was the greatest heel in the world on this show, and Hacksaw Jim Duggan, I swear to God, was the most sympathetic babyface. Why isn't he at the Performance Center?
That's a great question.
I've never seen a more likable, sympathetic babyface. I was almost crying as the Revolution was stomping on Hacksaw, trying to get him to denounce the American flag. He's practically in tears. His hair's all disheveled. He's got his Shawn Michaels face on. He's just looking so sad.
Bottom lip poking out.
This was unbelievable.
A guy on Twitter asked me, why is he not in the Hall of Awesome?
He is now.
Okay, Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan is in the Hall of Absolutely Awesome.
My dad's favorite wrestler.
God damn, he's been so awesome every time he's been on this show.
Yeah.
In 1999. I'm not even talking about like his heyday. He's in the Hall of Awesome. It's official. Fontaine?
Make it be.
Make it be.
Okay. So the Revolution comes out. Saturn cuts a promo on Tootsie Pops because everything's got to be funny now. Shane wants Hacksaw Jim Duggan. So they didn't mention this, but I think we talked about it last week. It was the Revolution versus Hacksaw and Mystery Partners in a trios match. And if Hacksaw lost, he would have to come out here and tear up the flag or whatever. Mystery Partners were the fucking Varsity Club.
Yeah.
In December of 1999. Coming back
We told you they were coming.
from out of the goddamn blue. They still lost
Yeah.
in their re-debut.
Hell of a debut.
So Hacksaw is sad. His bottom lip is quivering. He's just on the verge of tears. And finally he says, I'm not going to rip up that flag. And Shane Douglas says, Hacksaw, how dare you welch on this stipulation? Hacksaw says, I'm not welching on anything. I lied! And he starts throwing punches.
So awesome. It was like the one time in my entire time watching wrestling that a guy reneging on a stipulation was the fucking coolest thing I ever saw. I was living and dying with every punch. Get him, Hacksaw!
He's running wild.
Hit Dean harder!
They overwhelm him, and they're beating him up, and Shane says, to hell with those jackasses and standards and practices. We're going to burn this flag. The filthy animals come out to save the flag.
Okay, as
on
much as I love this, okay? Conan is dressed like a pimp and he's got no cardio. Kidman's a skinny geek and a wife beater, and Rey Mysterio's got no legs and he's on crutches. The heels have a fucking blowtorch. They still run for their lives. So it wasn't all perfect.
What about when they make the save and Hacksaw can't get to his feet, but he's able to grab that flag and wave it to and fro from his back?
I'm crying right now.
He's what a hero. Piper and her son are walking around. Was it Nick or Mick?
I thought he said Mick, but I think it's Nick.
All right. So Piper comes out for a promo. Says yes, he had sold out. He's done a lot of things to Mr. T, to Jimmy Snuka, to Cyndi Lauper. But he says, I am not a phony. And I don't dig this phony dog and pony baloney. That's actually what he said. At this point, he got a promo on the WWE in 2018. Nobody wants to see this badly written garbage, he says. They want to see guys fight.
Yeah. This was another one of those ironies.
It's amazing.
Like everything that he said.
It still holds up.
Yeah.
So he said he was going to quit. He told everyone, don't hit your kids, kiss them.
Yeah. Let me go through a little
Let me
of
write
this.
that down.
First he says, I'm the real deal, I'm not a phony. He calls it a phony dog and pony act. He's sick of Vince Russo's clown baloney. These fans don't want to see BS, they want to see people fight. He says, I'm a real fighter. If you want me to do this dog and pony cartoon baloney, I quit. This is the last time I'll do anything for anybody. And then, yes, he says, everyone at home, just want you to know, Christmas, it's somebody's birthday. I want you to grab your kid. Don't hit him.
Right.
Hug him. I was like, what are you talking about?
I wasn't going to, Roddy.
That was never my intention.
I was just about to. And Piper saved the day.
Save young Billy from a black guy.
He said, I've spent my entire life in this sport, but that's it, I quit. So his son, Oliver Twist, runs down. They hug. Then Goldberg comes out. Goldberg says, I stayed up all night trying to make sense of this crap. I didn't come to any conclusions. I'm like, I spent 20 years trying to come up with some conclusions for this crap. I still haven't. He says, there are a few guys I looked up to, respectable guys. Roddy, you were one of them until last night. I once thought those same thoughts. Roddy had a decision, and as far as he's concerned, he made the wrong decision. He sold out. Goldberg, he says, I'll never do that. And Piper just says, I'm sorry. Please don't be a phony. Bret Hart comes out. He's mad at the office. As far as he's concerned, he says this belt is vacant. He says, I'm going to go into the office and I'm going to tell them to shove this belt up their ass. I thought, okay. So, sometimes you hear a guy go, I'm going to go into the office and I'm going to tell them to shove this belt up their ass. Then, like, something else happens. The very next segment,
He's the fastest man alive.
Bret is in their office and he goes, take this belt and shove it up your ass. He was a man of his word.
The way he can move. I just want to point out, before we get to the end of the show, the end result of Starrcade was Goldberg got screwed and Bret Hart was world champion.
Yes.
Everyone remember that.
Yes. So then Russo tells him, he admits, I guess this time, I had nothing to do with the Survivor Series. I was trying to make it up to you last night.
I'll always make sure to mention Survivor Series, WWE, Vince McMahon.
Well, the point is, like, here he's admitting, I didn't come up with the finish.
Okay, if he didn't come up with the finish of Survivor Series, why did he have to make it up to him?
Well, he felt bad for the guy.
Please.
I will add that right before Bret went to Russo's office, Goldberg told Piper, basically Goldberg forgave Piper and said everyone makes mistakes. So they're cool now.
Then Russo says, you and Goldberg go out there and let him, he'll beat you up like he should have done last night. That's the match for the main event.
So the announcers talking about Bret and Goldberg say the title world championship is vacant. Didn't Bret just win this thing in a tournament like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
That's vacant
But he
again.
vacated it.
So Heenan says the stupidest thing Bret's ever done. Why, Bret? Why? So technically, the match that followed was Meng and Norman Smiley versus Knobbs and Finlay. It was really Meng in a handicap match against three men.
Sure.
Because any warm body he saw, he tried to kill it. And Norman was getting beat up and screaming. They were all fighting in the aisle. They fought up the stairs. They fought into what was described as the Kevin Sullivan Chris Benoit bathroom. Because I guess it's the same bathroom. They brawled in there that one time. And then I watched the show last weekend. So at the time I watched this, it was the grossest thing I'd ever seen. It may have been surpassed since then. But they took Norman Smiley into the actual men's room in this arena in Baltimore and gave him a real swirly in a real public toilet.
Yep.
I was getting queasy. It's not. I almost did what Tom did.
I thought nothing of it.
Yeah.
I've been potty training and Tom barfed everywhere.
And they pin Norman after this. Piper talks to his son. Says, have a soda pop and stay here. Tells Steve to watch the boy.
He takes his bat and he starts banging it on the walls and goes, nothing rubber here, baby. Because they've had fake bats.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's telling us it's fake, except when he's on screen.
Right. So he's going crazy. Bret tries to reason with him. Piper's having none of it. Evan Courageous versus the fucking Maestro.
You know what, Vinny? I never thought much of the Maestro, but he was not a bad worker.
It's not that.
He had a totally fine match with Evan Courageous.
He's a perfectly fine low-card comedy guy. That's all dandy. Why is there a guy playing piano and wrestling at the same time?
I don't know.
They've never offered one explanation for who he is.
He's the Maestro.
Why he wants to play piano.
This should be a self-explanatory gimmick, Vinny, like the Barbarian. You wouldn't say, why is a barbarian eating raw meat? He's a fucking barbarian.
That makes sense for a guy who then wants to get in the ring and fight people.
Well, Maestro is a Maestro.
Go down to the Seattle Symphony and see how many of your musicians there want to go get in a ring and fight people.
Well, I bet
I'm going to guess 0.
I'll bet you could find one.
And why is Maestro not concerned about his breaking his fingers or hand?
So, Symphony...
Because it's fake. It's been made abundantly clear on this show. It's a dog and pony show.
You know, you got me there, bro.
So, Evan Courageous is the other guy, if I hadn't mentioned that. Symphony puts the moves on him. He throws her down, but he does at least feel bad about it, which puts him up above the level of most wrestlers in 1999. And Maestro hits a knee to the back and wins.
Yeah, V-trigger.
Yeah.
Basically what?
Maestro hit a damn V-trigger in 1999.
It didn't look as good, but you're right.
That's what it was.
On paper, the same move. Okay, Russo's been around for like a month, right?
Oh, my God.
We have seen people dragged into his office. We have seen people, want to leave and
Vinny,
told not to.
we have been told, guard the door.
Yes, we have seen a match that takes place in the office where the first person to leave the office wins.
Yes.
Right.
Roddy Piper comes through with his bat. He levels the office. It's just a set. It's been a fake office this entire time.
Yes.
What is the show?
It is an acid trip.
Yes.
I've never been on one.
Usually-
I can only presume.
Usually, I am a fan of absurdist and ridiculous.
This is beyond
humor.
absurd, Vinny.
This is just blatantly self-contradictory. This whole show is just one giant oxymoron. So Piper is knocking down the set
Booked by a moron,
furniture.
which is an oxymoron.
He starts whacking the camera or whatever with his bat, and he's just shouting the names of dead wrestlers.
I loved you, Owen.
Adrian Adonis.
Adrian Adonis,
Gorilla Monsoon.
Owen Hart. Chavo Guerrero tries to sell a book to Evan.
How to pick up chicks.
Is this fucking Chavo thing going anywhere?
No, of course
Does he
not.
just sell shit until Nitro goes off the air?
I think Ziggler's brother wrote that book, by the way.
So Evan beats Chavo's ass. Things going great for Chavo these days. Champagne Canyon cuts a promo.
He still has his morgue music.
Yep.
It's been weeks now. He's California, Hollywood Canyon or whatever. He's got fucking morgue music.
Yeah. Oh, so he takes credit for blowing up the Triad, says he beat up Bigelow and Page. Now he's going to beat them both up at once. So it's a 3-way. Canyon versus Page versus Bigelow. I was trying to figure out why Page and Bigelow had heat. It turns out they didn't. They both hate Canyon. This is the opportunity to both beat him up. So the psychology was bass-ackwards. But it was funny. Watch them take
Dude.
turns.
All I know is when the bell rang and they did a triple lockup, I was so disgusted. Then I realized I was watching Nitro. It is one of the less goofy things on this show.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So Clarence Mason, whose name is Mr. Biggs, I think he had laryngitis, but they put him on the mic anyway.
Yeah, great idea.
So he's rasping. I can't understand a word he's saying. So,
Let's cut to the chase.
Yeah.
Canyon hits Bigelow with a champagne bottle. Of course, it's a real one. He busts his head open hard way, nearly kills him. You realize that this is the same week that Goldberg nearly cut his own arm off, punching a hole through a limo window. And right around this time, Bret speeds out of the building in a car that he has to drive as the stuntman, and he fucking spins out on the ice like you did the other day and almost kills himself.
yeah, actually.
Like, I mean this in the nicest way possible. Russo did not appear to give a shit about anybody.
No.
Like, dude, these are human beings.
Yeah.
What the fuck's this guy hitting a guy with a real fucking bottle for?
I don't know.
Why is Goldberg punching through a fucking glass window?
Why is Dallas Page jumping out of the ring, kissing a random fan at ringside, and it's not Kimberly Page, and nobody says anything about it?
Yeah, don't... Brian, all your points are very valid. But as far as what happens in this match, is a three-way where Page takes the time to lay out Canyon, turn on Bam Bam, hit a diamond cutter. He's got the match won. He starts to leave. He goes back to kiss somebody.
Yeah.
And then he leaves for real.
Yep. What the hell did you even lock up in a triple lockup?
Why did you come out?
Yeah.
Why did you do this match? What was the point of any of this?
And then, as noted, Canyon busted a real bottle over Bam Bam's head and pinned his bloody tattooed flames and pinned him. Backstage, Kevin Nash walks.
We're alerted that Liz hit Sting with a baseball bat and broke his head. Because Sting is a fucking moron.
Here's the whole way it went down. Sting knew that Liz was going to screw him at the pay-per-view, so he switched her mace with silly string. So when she went to mace him, she silly stringed him.
Yeah, then she hit him in the back of the head with a baseball bat, and she still screwed him in the end.
Yes. So everyone's stupid.
No, only him.
He's stupid. Kevin Nash versus Creative Control.
I'm running out of steam.
Handicap match. Everyone remember this. Kevin Nash and Creative Control hate each other.
Oh my God, we got so much left.
They have this big fight. Creative Control is still the tag champs a week later. I was legit surprised. Oh, I totally forgot this. Fucking forgot this. There's no ref in this match.
Right.
It's a fight. It's Creative Control versus Kevin Nash in a fight that just happens to be in the ring. But Creative Control, noble sportsmen that they are tagging in and out.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about that until right now.
That's more infuriating than a false count anywhere match. The guy gets counted out.
It may actually be.
Yeah.
It may actually be worse. Just because that defied logic. This is just outright stupid.
This show sucks, I wrote. No finish.
And remember, earlier,
no shit. No ref.
Earlier in Nitro, we couldn't see Jerry Flynn and Tank Abbott go at it. They had to send guys in.
Yes.
But this is okay.
Yes. What are we doing?
I don't know.
What are we...
Let's at least talk about Jared and Benoit in a ladder match.
I move on. I do want to add, right before that, Scott Hall last night was supposed to wrestle Benoit in the ladder match, but he could not because he was injured.
Right.
So he comes out here on crutches, but then he's fine and uses the crutches as weapons.
Yes.
No one mentions he faked an injury to get out of this ladder match.
Right. Yes.
Okay. Lex and Liz moxing in the rafters. Benoit walks, and now we have this ladder match.
Finally. Mm-hmm. You know what's funny is as I'm watching this match, I remembered every single move for move in this match, up until when Benoit starts climbing the ladder and it breaks.
Yeah, well,
that must have been when I hit rewind. Yeah, and I watched the first part again.
Yes.
Over and over and over and over and over
They
again.
didn't booby trap the ladder. They didn't sabotage the ladder.
Who gives a shit about this gimmicked ladder?
They gimmicked the ladder.
The wrestling in this match was so awesome.
Benoit was so good at his job.
He gave this man the most profound beating.
I will never forget Brian and I sitting on his couch in December of '99. We ran and watched this over and over and over again.
Yep.
When it happened here, I knew it was this match, and I said, I knew the 4 spots: chop,
Yep.
whip into the chair,
Yep.
hit him with a chair,
Yep.
suplex onto the chair.
Yep.
And you know what? How many times have we remembered something that's great and gone back to watch it? It didn't hold up.
This held up.
This fucking held up.
Yep.
This was amazing.
You've never seen a guy give a guy a worse beating in like a gimmick match, but he didn't actually hurt the guy at all.
Right.
He made it look like this was the most violent ladder match I've ever seen.
I expected Jarrett's arms and head to fall off.
A suplex, a chair shot, and
a whip into the turnbuckle,
and a whip into the buckle.
where he took his own bump.
Yes. Dude.
Just amazing. So Benoit gets a ladder, goes to climb it, all the rungs break. Somebody has gimmicked the ladder, they say. And then Benoit gets kabonged, as we are now in the great era of watching Chris Benoit take shots to the head. That's fantastic. Jarrett gets a shoot ladder, and he wins. Gene accuses Jarrett of gimmicking the ladder. Jarrett says what happened at Starrcade was bullshit. And then Hennick interrupts, says you need to go to Russo's limo.
Sid versus the damn wall.
This actually happened.
Yeah, it was horrible.
The best part of this,
there wasn't one.
They're brawling outside. Sid grabs a water bottle off the desk, and he clonks Wall in the head with it. There's a big splash of water. And Tony Schiavone says, Sid Vicious nails him with a bottle of water.
The only good thing about this was, and there was one good thing, but it was after the match, so I don't feel I'm wrong. Berlin interviews for the lame DQ. Sid takes one look at Berlin, and he does a Hulk Hogan. He points right at him. And Alex Wright sells it, and then Sid powerbombs the shit out of him.
He actually did.
I loved it.
Sid and the Wall shook hands.
Yeah, great.
Forming a horrible union. Jarrett gets news that it's gonna happen tonight. Russo couldn't tell him it's bigger than both of them. Tony Marinara talks to his dad, who's there this week.
Chuck Zito.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah.
They have Disco, calls Disco Glenn. There's some horrible buzzing going on in this segment.
Dude, it is horrible, but like they're asking Disco, like, why do you keep running? Why do you keep fighting the guys? Disco says, and I quote, they tried to put me in a body bag. What was I supposed to do? He's not wrong.
No.
Fair point, Glenn.
Boss says, I like you, but you're pissing me off. I'm going to give you two choices. Here are the two choices.
Yeah.
You can join the family and do what you're told, or die.
Joining the family.
And I guess
that's what he said.
I guess Disco gets a week to think about it because they cut away. We never got the.
Why does he need to think?
I want to know, why do they want Disco in the family?
Hell if I know.
What does Disco have to offer?
Well, if you've watched the skits, everything.
That's true.
He's outsmarted the other two idiots at every turn.
That's true. I guess that's true.
He'd be the brains of the
He
operation.
would be the best man in the crew. All right. Brett is stretching. Goldberg is putting gloves on. Harlem Heat and the goddamn Varsity Club.
With Leia Meow.
With Leia Meow.
Yeah.
So Leia Meow comes out. She has a graphic. It reads in clear letters, Leia Meow.
The former kimono on a Leia.
That's what she
from
was.
ECW.
That was not on the graphic, Craig.
No.
But it was there. So Kevin Sullivan sits down at the announce desk, and Tony says, hey, what's the name of your cheerleader? Kevin says, I'm not going to tell you. So they don't watch the show either.
No.
So the Varsity Club, who are randomly back together after
They're the Lucha House Party.
decade. Yeah, they are, in fact. Sullivan leaves to do commentary. He tags in, wrestles. Steiner tags back in, Rotunda tags in. They just take turns doing it. No one cares. Kevin on Sullivan refers to Rick Steiner as Robbie Steiner.
Yep.
Yeah.
His real name.
There's fucking chin locks in this match.
Finally, Midnight shows up. Stevie tells her to hit the bricks, even though he's winning. And Rotunda rolls him up from behind, pins him. I felt like I've been watching this show for 1,000 years at this point. I feel like that's still right now. Two geeks at the ring. I swear to God, I thought, what are these fucking fans doing here? Why hasn't anyone run him over yet? It's PG-13.
If I was stunned to see Varsity Club win a match on Nitro in December of
Yes.
99 when they got attacked by PG-13. Seriously, did somebody Photoshop the network? Was this sabotage? This cannot have happened.
It happened.
PG-13 attacking the Varsity Club on Nitro.
Yeah.
This sounds like somebody put Memphis and Jim Crockett and Nitro in a blender, and this popped out on accident.
That's what happened. Daphne,
Speaking of weird segments,
Daphne is now randomly, she's like Stacy, she's like BB. Like a couple of weeks
she
ago,
was a fan.
She was a fan. Now she's just part of the damn show.
Sure.
The Misfits are hitting on her. She knees them in the balls. I wrote kisses him. Apparently she bit his nose.
I thought she kissed him too, but they said, yeah, she bit his nose off.
She screamed.
David is now with Daphne.
Yeah. They attack the ring announcer. They
Put the worst boots ever to the guy.
Yes.
So Vampiro comes out. They're doing this verbal back and forth. David Pencer's on the ground, deceased.
Yeah.
Talking over his corpse. So Vamp insults David, and then just turns his back, and David attacks him with a crowbar. What a dipshit Vampiro turned out
He
to
was
be.
an absolute moron.
Ever turn your back on a man with a crowbar?
Especially after you insult him.
Yes.
So the Misfits run out. They get attacked. Nobody cares. For the life of me, there's not a human being in all the world in 99 who would have cared about David, Flair, and Daphne feuding against Vampiro and the Misfits. Mm-hmm. There's no one to like here. There's no one to cheer for. And there's no reason. We don't know why they're fighting even, really. The medics tend to the Misfits backstage.
Gene with Bagwell.
Yes.
Gene says, hey, tell me about the rumors of you and Kimberly. He tries to shut him up. Gene says, if you leave without saying anything, you're admitting your guilt. So then Bagwell starts going, well, she's a 10 on my scale. Gene says, I want to know if you've been there. He says, well, You know, if DDP wasn't married to Kimberly, Buff would put his stuff all over her.
That's gross.
What?
He said that.
What?
He said that, and then as he's laughing and smiling, his sunglasses randomly pop off like a champagne cork. It was amazing. So he's talking about, like, in graphic detail about having Kimberly in bed. Finally, Dallas Page's music hit. Bagwell is stunned. Bagwell's caught off guard.
Oh, shit.
At this talk about graphically explaining how he fucked a man's wife to bring that man out to kill him. Now, before all that happened, the first part of this promo, Bagwell's putting himself over. He says, I have won 4 world tag titles with 3 different partners. That's never been done before. In this very company, Arn Anderson won 5 titles with 4 partners.
Huh. Well, that's not 4 with 3.
I suppose not. Also, in the background, somebody's holding up a sign reading www.consensual.com. And a security guard took it away. No, I did not type that into my computer.
I'm not typing it in. No. Rob's on the...
Rob.
He's on the case.
Make sure you put on private.
You're going to send the cops here.
Private mode.
I'm not an amateur, Vinny.
Piper says goodbye to Sid. Sid wishes him a Merry Christmas.
Okay.
I like what Sid said to Nick, see you, little kid.
All right, Rob, the way you spell it, U-N.
Would you get out of here? So, Piper says, I want you guys to know, he's speaking to the locker room, including PG-13. I want you guys to know you're the best group of athletes that have ever come along this business. You must demand more. 2 years from now, he says, you'll all be burned out. They'll take you in the back and put a bullet in you. Wow! Look at that guy. He says, I'm no genetic freak, but I had balls. I never saw my kids take their first steps or say their first words. I sacrificed my family to build this business. My kids cry every time I leave. This generation can do one thing my generation never could. Stand up, he says. Stick together. Form a union. I cried with laughter. And
Spoiler alert, no union was formed.
Said Merry Christmas and left. Yes, Rob, you're dying to tell us what you found.
So, you're all going to be horribly disappointed. There's nothing on consensual.com.
I'm not disappointed at all.
Just an ad to say this domain is available to purchase. So anyone who's an aspiring entrepreneur,
if you were that guy,
consensual.com,
hey, let's buy it and point it to WrestlingObserver.com.
All right. So, Bret Hart, who had screwed Goldberg and kept the title, in a match with Goldberg for the vacant world title. Ref gets bumped. Hall and Nash attack with baseball bats. Bret takes one. Bret attacks Goldberg with a bat as well. So Piper runs out. Piper attacks Bret. He lays on Goldberg. The ref recovers. The ref counts 3 and awards the belt to Bret.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
The ref was down, and apparently the ref was confused, and when Piper laid on Goldberg and would not get off, the ref was just like, I'm going to count the pin. He awards the title to Bret Hart, who Tony announces is the new champion. And at first I was like, no, he was the champion. Are you confused? You thought Goldberg was a champion? Then I realized he had vacated and won the belt back on this show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He screwed Goldberg to keep the title, just so the next night he could screw Goldberg to win the title.
Well, now he's a 2-time champion.
What the fuck?
This is a bad show.
This makes no sense.
It's awful.
So Jarrett runs out, hits Piper with a guitar. They spray paint NWO on Piper and Goldberg, and this was funny.
So hold on, before you get to that, I think their idea was Bret went to all of this trouble so that he would convince everyone that he was a babyface, so that they could lure Goldberg into a trap. Did we really need to lure Goldberg into a trap?
The
trap was they went to have a match and dudes ran in and beat him up.
Yes.
That's your fucking trap that you had to lure him into?
Yeah.
This is a poor television show.
This is a lot of work for little reward. So they go to spray paint NWO on these guys. Now you recall a year or two ago.
Yeah, the NWO.
Yeah, they're back. If you didn't know. And it's Bret and the Outsiders and Jarrett. So a year or two ago, the NWO was running wild, and they spray painted Goldberg. And at the end of it, just for fun, they spray painted his head.
Yeah.
And he was really, really pissed. Fast forward to this event, when they go to spray paint the NWO logo on him, and they get the N in his chest, and the W in his belly, and then they are very, 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 very careful to spray paint the O on his leg and not his trunks, so they won't ruin his gear and give him reason to murder them. I laughed and
Stay
laughed
the hell
and
away
laughed.
from his head, too.
And his head. So, yeah, everyone, the NWO is just back.
The band is back together. They play the NWO music.
This whole fucking thing was a scheme put together over the past, like, if you go back, like, 2 months, it goes back to the Outsiders. The Outsiders trying to interfere when Bret won the title in the first place. Why, when Bret won the title in the first place, didn't they just say, hey, we're the NWO now? Why was it a secret?
Because he had to do a swerve.
And the epitome of WCW in 99, Bret picks up the mic to say something to the crowd, and the mic doesn't work.
So, I mean, I want to mention we should not gloss over the fact that somebody asked me a couple of days ago, are you sure that Bret got that concussion at Starrcade because he wrestled on Raw?
Right.
Or on Nitro?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the point.
Yeah.
He got concussed at Starrcade, then he wrestled the next night, then he does like a bunch of house show matches.
I was on the planes.
He starts doing hardcore matches with Terry Funk. And yes, by the way, any moment now, Terry Funk is back. I think he shows up like next week or something like that. So yeah, this was the beginning of that. And if you watch this show, like, Bret got his promo out, but he doesn't look good in that main event.
No.
He looks messed up because he was messed up. So we are witnessing week to week the end of the career of the great Bret Hart.
Yeah.
Because they threw his ass in the ring and he just kept wrestling.
Yeah.
Well, here's your music, Vinny.
I hope it goes through like 8 times. This may be a record.
This band is back together again.
The finishes on this terrible show were pin in an intergender match after distraction in a foreign object, pin after like 8 distractions by a crazy old guy, no finish due to run-in by security, pin in the bathroom after Swirly, pin after distraction, pin after a champagne bottle shot after a third guy had the match won but just left, no finish in a handicap match where guys were doing tags with no ref, win in a ladder match after the first ladder was gimmicked, DQ due to interference from a guy's own manager, pin after a guy was distracted by his own valet or manager or whatever midnight is, pin for the world championship when a guy who is not in the match pins a guy who is in the match, but then another guy who is in the match wins.
Wow. I cannot properly express how happy I am when Tuesday night's over. And I gotta go watch SmackDown next. Can you imagine? So there you go, everybody. That is Retro Raw Nitro.
Are you doing the Filthy Tom show tomorrow?
Yes, obviously.
He's been eerily quiet.
He has been eerily
I'm
quiet.
sure he's recovering. But still hungover.
We'll talk to him tomorrow. And, yep, we'll do SmackDown tomorrow and all the other good stuff. Not sure what the holiday schedule is going to be, but make sure you sign up at video.f4wonline.com because the Christmas show will be up. I've been told it has audio. So we're good to go.
It may be the wrong audio.
Yeah, it could be the audio for Sunday's show
It's
that we
just
play on a
Cliff
loop.
playing guitar for 2 hours.
You didn't take my word for it?
Hey, listen, I got the audio here, so it doesn't matter if we have audio. I can edit this one in, so we're good. The Christmas show is good, everybody. It's all you need to know.
I wouldn't go that far.
It's complete.
Yes.
Okay.
We don't say it's good.
Good or not. I mean, I seem to recall it was pretty good.
I had fun.
The aftermath was no
I had
good.
fun until the camera stopped.
Yeah. So anyway, check that out, everybody, and that is it. We will talk to you again after a while.
Good night.
Bye.